Hello.
Hello, hi, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending with the part of the world you are today. It's a privilege and honor to be here and to be alive. 2020 has been a tough year.
Mm, mm.
I saw some pictures on Facebook this afternoon, and I was remembering one of the holidays that we went around this time. We normally go for a holiday, around this time before Victoria's birthday. And I'm thinking, we this year we have never been
This year is
all
different.
our holidays this year
We're local.
were in our
Mm,
house.
mm.
So we thank God, and with that comes a lot of pressure, comes a lot of stress, thinking about things and what you have not achieved and what you missed and all this stuff.
It is. It has been very, very challenging this year, but we want to thank God that He has been our strength and our grace. It is a privilege to be alive in such a season and a moment where a lot of people are losing lives, a lot of couples are losing their loved ones as well. And talking of marriages are dissolving due to the pressures of life and of marital situations, but to be here and standing, it is by the grace of God. We
Yeah.
thank God.
And if you are in the UK, it's another lockdown.
Yeah. Mhm.
And we do not know how long we're going to be in this lockdown until, of course, the Prime Minister said until
Fourth December.
the first week of December, but
Yeah.
it could be longer.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, there are issues that needs to be discussed, and that's why we are here tonight. If you have just joined us, welcome
Let's share.
you, and we would ask you to kindly share with friends and family that may benefit from this broadcast. So please share with friends, share with family. My pastor says sharing on Facebook, that's one thing which you don't need to pay. You don't pay
It's
anything for that, it's
free.
free. So help us to do that. And those who are there, please just show us by sending your hello, hi, or greetings so that we know who is there. We can see there are people who are around already.
Rudaviro.
Yes, Rodaviro Munjoma, how are you? We love you and thank you so much for tuning in. May I say Merry Christmas to you? It's now we're getting in.
It's too early, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it has to be. 2020 has given us, a lot. So we just have to celebrate. Any little opportunity. What's if you come at my house right now, at my door, right in front of the door, I've put massive Christmas deco, and one of our visitors came and say, "It's too
It's too
early." I
early.
said,
What's
"Too early
going
for who?"
on?
Yes, we have to do that because if we don't do that, we can become depressed. Sometimes.
That's it, guys. First of all, thank you so much for joining us on this platform. We do not take you guys for granted. Again, it is another night of us investing into our marriage. And this is a platform that we share with the world as well. That as we are learning from other couples, we can bring it also on the platform so you can benefit from it. So, thank you again for tuning in. And if you haven't yet, please do share and tag another friend, let them come on this broadcast.
Yes, may we also apologize on behalf of Dr. Brighton Chireka and Priska Chireka, who were supposed to be our guests for tonight. But due to the profession of Dr. Brighton Chireka, he is busy now with the COVID issue. So
Emergency
duty have
calls, yeah.
called, so he is on duty right now. And we pray that the Lord will uphold him and strengthen him. So we are not going to have Dr. Brighton Chireka and Priska Chireka tonight. We have rescheduled for them
Another
to
day,
come
yeah.
on another day, but they are not here because Dr. Chireka is on call. So we respect that. Say heads off. We love you, respect you. Key frontline workers, we love you so much.
Amen. Big up NHS and thank you for all the work that you do. So, guys, we're going to go straight into it. Babe.
Yeah, tonight we are discussing on a very hot topic. Marriage is quite tricky because it's one institution that you are given the marriage certificate before you pass the test. So you are given the certificate, then you go to do the practice. And many times, most of the things that we do or we are told to say on the day of the marriage or on the day of the wedding, we do not understand them until you are in the
You're in it.
in it.
Yes.
Then you find out that, oh my God, why did I get
Where
married?
did I get
I
myself
didn't
into?
expect things to happen this way. I was just, following the marriage officer who was saying to me, say this after me.
Say after me.
So I was
In
saying,
sickness and in health, for better, for worse.
so these are some of the things that we'll be discussing tonight. That yes, we got married and marriage could be good, but sometimes there are some rough patches that if care is not taken, you can give up.
Indeed, guys, we are sharing with you guys our own personal experience. We've gone through hard times, we've gone through good times. So through the good, the bad, and the ugly, we've been together, and we've stuck together through it all. We always say that every marriage encounters seasons. There's nothing you can do about it. Like the seasons that we have, we have the winter, we have the autumn, we have the summer, we have the fall.
Yeah.
So you will encounter moments where everything is cold. I remember a time when Kudzi said to me, I feel neglected. Like he was telling me, sitting me down and saying, babe, I know you're here. I know you're my wife. You're with me in this space, but I feel neglected. And that really hit me so hard. But what it makes you to realize is that we encounter cold seasons where everything is just cold. Things are not working between us. One is feeling unsupported, one is feeling neglected, one feels like I don't want to be here. So those things happen in marriage.
Yes. One of the most outstanding years, which was a refining and a defining moment for us, was 2011, particularly the month of February, where we became homeless as a family. And it was 2010 November. God blessed us with Princess Victoria Miracle Baby. And during that period, things were not working well. I was working slightly part-time, and I was also going to college full-time in Kensington and Chelsea, which was quite draining, expensive school fees and all this stuff. And Priscilla was going to work. And now, during the month of November, she gave birth. So she was now on maternity leave. What it means is her salary dropped. And I'm still running. We have a one almost close to 2 year baby, and we also have a newborn baby. So these two souls, they need to eat, they need
diapers.
Both of them needed diapers, and daddy isn't going to work full time. And I remember January, before we get into the February, which was the most defining moment. I woke up one night around midnight, and I looked at Priscilla and I said, you know what? I feel like I need to go home, because when I was back home, life was more better. Things were better than what it is now. And she looked at me.
Yeah, I'm looking at me, man. In my head, I'm like, are you crazy? Zimbabwe? Like, where do we start?
Yes, but bills were behind and everything was just behind. And I couldn't figure it out. Every morning you wake up, you don't know what the next day holds. And all of a sudden, the property which we're renting, it was a sublet property. One of our friends is sublet the property to us. So the owner of the property now wanted their property, and
it was cheap, by the way.
We didn't have money for deposit for another property. We didn't have money. We only had money for rent, and it came when we had paid rent for that property. So all of a sudden, we received a letter from the bailiffs to say you need to
move out.
And
if you on the Thursday or so, just a day or so before our son's birthday, we were supposed to move out.
Yes, so we need to move out. And I got the letter, I opened the letter, I sat down, and I was thinking, both my parents are in Zimbabwe, and I do not have any biological, same mother, same father, a brother or a sister who is in here. And all my brothers who are back in Africa, they're thinking this young man is doing
grinding,
well
he's doing well.
in England. And, you know, opened the letter and sat down, and tears were in my eyes. And I'm thinking, God, what is this?
What did I get
And
myself
I'm
into?
looking at these two innocent souls. My son is 2 years and he's enjoying. He doesn't even know what's going on. And my wife is looking up to me, and yet I didn't have a clue of what to do. You know, there are certain moments where, as a man, your wife is looking up to you, but you don't even know.
And by the way, you know, I always say this to singles: you need to look for the potential before you get married. Does the man have potential? And indeed, before we got married, I could tell that this man is capable of looking after me. But little did I know that these moments will come when probably you're in between jobs and you're unable to make ends meet. And this was one of the moments for us.
Yes, it was pretty tough. And what I can vividly remember is we had a flower vase. So every time we would go to the shops, come back with change, would fill the vase with coins. And now during this season, instead of us to fill the vase with coins, we started to take off from the vase. And I remember one of the days I sat down and I counted the coins which were there. There was 17 pence in the vase. And I'm looking at these 17 pence on a wooden table, and I'm thinking, I've got a wife, I've got 3 kids. What can I do now? And who can I call? Sometimes when life becomes tough, you become, to people's eyes, you are lazy, you are not doing what you're supposed to do. And to you, you think, I'm cursed, somebody has bewitched me.
You do prayers,
you pray,
fasting.
you fast, you do all you can, but life will be just holding tight on you.
Tough. I remember that at some point I picked up £5 on my way to the shops. I picked up £5, and it felt so valuable to me. I called my husband. I'm like, babe, guess what? You know, I picked up £5, and both of us were so excited. Like, you know, God is good. God is a way of providing for His children. And again, on another day, I was walking and I saw £1 on the floor, and I was like, thank you, Jesus. You know, those moments when £1 or 50 pence feels valuable and you feel like this is God given. And I remember, you know, God has a way of providing for His children. Sometimes we'd go to church, and one of the brothers in the church would give our son like £20. On one particular day, he gave him £20, and he told him, or buy crisp or something. And immediately I just went straight. I was like, oh, thank you so much. And I reached for the money and I put it in my pocket, because I'm thinking this £20 is going to go a long way, you know. And you might think you're giving it to a child, but this is God given to us. So these are tough moments.
Yeah, and people say, tough moments, they do not last, but tough people do. So if you are strong in confrontation of a river and a mountain, it is the river that conquers, not because of power, but because of perseverance. We were coming from church during the winter in England. January, February is quite cold. December, January, February is quite cold. And we were coming from church, and probably 3 times in a row, my car stalled along the road. I ran out of petrol, out of gas. And I remember one of the days I was driving, and I just parked aside. And my son, who was just 2 years, he looked and he said, not again.
Not again, Dad.
Not again.
My sister Lillian says it's like you're talking about me. It's amazing.
And I want to be honest with you that one of the days I went to Sainsbury's at the petrol station. My wife was not there. And I'm thinking, I can't be driving, back and forth, and the gas, the car stalled along the way. There's no gas. You run to the petrol station, and one of the days I didn't have a jelly can, so I had to push the car and all this stuff. So I went at Sainsbury's, and I filled up the gas, but I think half tank, and I went into the shop. and
You
I pretended as if I had money in my account. So I tried to pay with my card. My card didn't pay. I tried again. It couldn't pay. Then they said to me, "Sir, can you step aside?" I stepped aside. Then one of the managers came and said, "Do you have your ID?" I said, "Yeah, I've got my driving license and all this stuff." So I gave it to them, and the guy said to me, "We are writing this paper to you. You can go. We have taken your details. Come back and pay in within 7 days. If you don't come back within 7 days, we are handing your name to the police." God, it was a miracle, and not only was it a miracle, but time and again, when I ran out of gas, I would go there and fill up.
So now they're gonna be like, no man, this is you
Yeah.
can't be forgetting your card all the time.
Yeah, and now I was clever because not only Sainsbury's, there's Tesco's, and there's Morrison's. So
You'll
if you
be
go there, you
rotating.
go there this week, you go there the next week, you go there the other week. And
But you know what? Talking about this fuel issue, at some point, our pastor, the thing is, we didn't communicate all this, to people around us,
yeah, we didn't communicate to the people around us, but the two of us were communicating.
we were
because
communicating.
The most challenging thing in a relationship is for you to go through all these things by yourself. Without sharing with your spouse.
Yeah.
Let her know that
Mhm.
the £5 which you have is the
it's
£5 which you
for
have
now.
for now.
Yes, until God performs a miracle.
Yes.
So all this, people around us, they didn't know what was going on. But I remember Pastor asking us, like, why is it that your car is always running out of fuel? Because at that point, they thought that you were someone who waits until the fuel runs out before he goes to top it up. Because then you would just answer and say, "Oh, Pastor, I was just saying I'll fill it up. Because sometimes you would literally come and bail us out while we are on the road.
Yeah.
And to him, it's like, why are you waiting so long? And we couldn't say that, man, we don't have the money right now.
Yeah, but the most important thing is Priscilla would understand that this too shall pass.
Yeah.
Of course, life didn't start there. We were somewhere, and all of a sudden,
we hit rock
bottom, and we were in it together. We were feathering together until this precious day when I knew that we were about to leave. It's now it's the 2nd of it was the 2nd of February. My son's birthday was on the 2nd of March. So the 2nd of February 2011, woke up 5 o'clock in the morning. I had borrowed a car, a bigger car. So woke up in the morning 5 o'clock. I started to put everything in the car, and my wife was asking, "So where are we going?" I looked at her and I said, "You know what, babe? Just like you, I don't even know where we are going, but I know we're going somewhere." So we packed everything, waited. We waited. We were in a parking bay just opposite the house, and we were looking. And lo and behold, we were praying that let the belly of snow come. Then all of a sudden, I saw these two big guys, the deputy sheriff, or in Zimbabwe we call them the deputy sheriff. I saw them coming. Then they opened the doors and they changed the locks and everything. And I knew that, you know what? The game is over. I became homeless with 2 children, find somewhere to go for the night. And then we lived in a property that was furnished for about 6 months. Then after 6 months, we moved into a flat that was non-finished. It was bare. Now the game started again.
Dear. You know what? If you're in Zimbabwe, sometimes you don't realize that flats. Sometimes in the UK, you walk in, the bed is there, the couch is there. It's finished. You have a cooker and everything. There. But we are walking in a flat. It only had the carpet, no bed,
nothing,
cooker,
cooker,
nothing whatsoever. And I think the first chairs, we went to church and we told Pastor, we just moved. Can we have, chairs? 2-3 chairs so that we can just sit on?
And the church blessed us with 6 chairs.
6 chairs.
Put them in
colorful chairs.
Went home and put the chairs inside the house. So we only had chairs. We didn't have a bed. We didn't have a microwave. We didn't have anything. And a water jug. So boil, and we make tea in the nights, and have tea as our dinner. So for 2 consecutive nights, we didn't have dinner. We were having tea in the morning, tea in the afternoon, and tea in the evening. And life was that like that. We were sleeping on the floor with 2 children in the United Kingdom. We're talking of 2011 now, not too far from that. And it's those moments, if you are not together, if you are not communicating,
if you don't understand,
if you
each
don't
other,
communicate as much, the devil will come and minister to the other person. So we took it a policy that every step of the way, I would tell my wife, look, I'm going to Fabio, one of my good friends, Fabio, God bless him.
Because honestly, there are moments where you start thinking that maybe my spouse is not trying enough. So that is why it is very important to keep communicating that I'm doing my best. I'm on the job. I'm looking on the job market, and I'm trying to see. It's not that I'm just here seated and not wanting to make things work. So I'm trying my best as well, because sometimes as women, we may get to points where we are thinking, this man is just there. What are you doing? Why can't you do something? So communication is very important.
It's quite
at that
important,
stage,
as well as motivation, hope, giving each other a word of hope, understanding that we are just going through this. Very soon we'll be out of this. And coming out of it is not just talking. You also have to be showing some action that this is what we are doing. This is where I'm going. This is what I'm doing. All of a sudden, I hooked up with one of my, he was somehow a far friend, but I pushed myself closer to him, and we started working together in the printing industry. And, things started to open up. And
but let's talk about the money that we didn't have money left, but we had money in the Argos card. We had money in the Argos card, and at that stage we did not have a cooker, we did not have a bed, we did not have washing machine whatsoever. And so we realized that it was better, since we had children, better to invest the money that was in the Argos card into buying a cooker. And so we were thanking God that at least we can now cook fresh meals and give children decent meals. But then what did you do? How did we make our first bed?
I remember one of the days I went to my friend Fabio. He's in the printing industry, so I went to his print shop, and we were working there. I was hanging around there. There's this proverb which says, if you hang around the barber shop for long, you will definitely have a haircut. And I knew that, and now I need a haircut. So what I do, I have to spend my day in the barber shop. So I was spending my day with this guy, behind this guy, and I told him, you know what, things are tough at home. My wife and kids need to eat. And so we'll do little jobs, and he would give me a little something. And one evening I was driving, I was coming home. My little car, it was a 2x2 Hyundai Matrix. It's slightly bigger. So as I was driving, it was a little bit, it's in the evening, and it was raining. It's just spitting. And I saw this double bed mattress along the way. I drove past. Then I'm thinking, hey, is this not God's way of providing? And I'm thinking, if I pick this mattress and I take it home, what is Priscilla going to say? Then
you probably say surprise.
I picked it up and I put it on top of the car. I didn't have anything to tie it, so it's on top of the car. I'm driving. My other hand,
cover it.
Yes, my other hand is on top holding the mattress, and I'm driving with one hand. And I arrived home. I knocked the door. Priscilla opened the door, and I go like, surprise. And she looked at me. She said, what's going on? I said, you know what, baby, it's pretty cold. And I just thought, let me bring this so that together with the kids, we find somewhere warm, better to sleep. And she looked at it. She didn't like it. She wanted us to check it.
I was thinking, bed that somebody has slept on and it's been spitting, so it's slightly wet. And I'm thinking.
So the next morning I went to the supermarket. I bought bleach. So I brought bleach, started to scrub everything. Then I put it close to the heaters,
To
the
dry.
heating system to dry it up. After a day or so, it had dried up, and apologies. So that was our first bed,
Mm.
and things were unfolding little by little. And from there, we moved from there when I now started doing uh, my printing jobs. I went to one industry wholesale deep in the industry, and Priscilla was expecting me to bring a double bed. I bought a bunk bed,
Mm.
so me and my wife were sleeping under,
And
and the kids were
children
sleeping.
on the top. Oh, actually, we went Pastor Chido Zata. You're just typing right now.
Yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
came to your house and we saw this bunk bed that you had
Which
for your
they have for the
children.
children.
Their one is for the children. But then we are thinking, man, now we have money to buy a bed. We can't buy for ourselves and the children sleep on the floor. So we now decided to buy the same bed that they had for their children, but for all of us.
So all of us, we were fitting in this bed. The kids were on top, Mama and Baba down there. So you know, we can I be honest that in all this situation or in all this, I would say we were more than conquerors. No, never a day did we stop having sex. So my conjugal rights, I was having it. Of course,
But
with
in
a
a
bit of
very
pressure, but you know.
subtle way. Yeah.
So there is one thing that we kept on mentioning that over and over again, babe. How far do you think you are with me as you are walking in this journey?
Mm.
So we kept on updating each other, and time and again, I kept on checking with Priscilla. Is she still with me? Are we still working together? Is she still understanding the situation which I'm in? Because I'm the one who is supposed to provide, and this time I'm not providing. And you know, for some reasons, I was proud to say a tall man. My wife, I would say to my wife, a tall man, bright in complexion like me, to be seen taking benefits or claiming benefits. You know, God forbid. And yet it was tough. Sometimes it can be tough, but if you are together.
Yeah.
If you are together, the burden can become easier.
Lighter.
But you don't just walk together. In this togetherness, there's agreement that, okay, let's do this. If we reach this way and things do not change, what are we going to do next? So there have to be a game plan. Those couples' goals, sometimes your goals can be challenged.
Yeah.
You set goals, and when you're setting goals, sometimes as a couple, it's straightforward that, 2020, we want to make 10,000, we want to renovate the house, we want to do this, we want to do that. But all of a sudden, obstacles are on your way. What do you do when obstacles come your way as a couple when you have set goals?
Absolutely. And I must say on that note that, sometimes it's not everything that you have an answer to, and it's not everything that you have a reason for. I remember us, praying and going before God and saying, God, are we cursed? Like all of these things that are happening to us. Imagine you leave your country. My husband was doing well in Zimbabwe, and now all of a sudden we are living in a space where we don't have a bed, and my husband is just picked up a bed outside, is wet, and he's coming and he's saying surprise, and things we're just going pear-shaped. And it is easy, to start thinking that you're cursed. Maybe God is not happy with you. You go into prayers, like you would fast and, just say, God, take us out. God, have we sinned? God, whatever that we have done wrong, forgive us. But one thing that I like, a message that has been ministering to me, Jesus is saying that this man is not born blind because his parents sinned. So there are certain things that will happen, not because we have sinned, not because we are cursed, but for the glory of God to be revealed. So sometimes you may not find lessons. Sometimes, you may not find the reason why things are happening a certain way. But in the midst of it all, ask God, what do you want us to learn in this season?
Yeah.
What are you teaching both of us in this season? Because it is right in those seasons that you begin to see different perspectives and you have a different view of life.
And you sit down and begin to understand that the marriage officer was right when he was saying
for
for
better
better,
and for worse.
for worse. And it can be more worse than what you
Imagine.
expected or
Yeah.
what you imagined.
Mm.
And that can be more tough if two of you are not seeing
Eye to eye.
eye to eye,
Mm.
when you are seeing things differently, when the other one is thinking I'm putting more and the other one is not doing as much as expected.
Yeah.
And I would say what kept us, one thing that kept us together, is we never ceased to encourage each other.
Yeah.
When Priscilla was down, I would come, motivate her, speak to her. When I was down, she would come and say, you know what, babe, I know you're a strong man. You know, keep on going, keep on trying. It will happen. You know, one day it will be. And sometimes one day can be a month, can be 2 months, can be 3 months, can be 5
longer.
months. It
Yeah.
can be longer. And that doesn't necessarily mean that if you're from Zimbabwe or from Africa, your in-laws, they're expecting from you. So there are certain moments whereby you see their phone ringing and you kind of, it's hot. You can't pick it up because you're thinking, oh, even if they say we please just a can of Coca-Cola, you can't afford it.
These are real issues, and this is one thing that we do here on Further Together. We discuss real marital issues. These are things that are happening in marriages. You know, like we say that you will encounter worse, you encounter better. As long as you're together in marriage, you can come out stronger. You know, I like the fact that in through the midst of it, we would find time to have this spiritual intimacy. Yes, we would go, would have sex, you know, because sex needed to happen so that
intimacy,
the stress would be too much, you know. So we had time every day, would make sure that we are getting intimate. Let's just relieve ourselves of the pressure.
Let's enjoy, baby.
What is going
this
on?
Too shall pass.
You know, because those few minutes you kind of like forget everything, forget that you're sleeping on the floor, forget that you didn't eat and all that, and just be in the moment. And so we had that time of spiritual intimacy where we would talk to God our Father, and would, you know, just lay our vision before God and say, God, help us through this. We cannot do it by ourselves, but you know, we need help from above. So which is why when couples pray together, when you find a spouse that you have the same values, same spiritual goals, you can pray together, you can go before God together, and God will see you through.
Yeah, to those who are not yet married, I think this is quite important, that before you get married to the man or to the lady whom you want to be married to, sit down and have a conversation. What is his spiritual goals? How far can the person go? Because these will be your road and your stuff when things become tough. You know, when life, when the going gets tough, you are going to sit down, and all those expectations that you've been talking about, you almost go through them. But if you did not have any conversations before your marriage, then it becomes hard. There's nothing that you can wait for, because you did not have anything that you agreed in the first place.
Very, very important. We were talking to another couple that we are supporting at the moment, and the wife was saying that I never knew that my husband is only a 10 or 5 minute prayer kind of a man. You know, she was thinking that, you know, the man is a very strong prayer warrior. And so now they are in their house and things are going tough, and she is expecting the man to stand as the priest of the house to pray. And now they call on prayer, the man will just do, you know, plus Jesus minus Satan shots, and then he's done. And to her, she's expecting him to go so much more. So these are some of the issues that, you know, let's discuss them before we get married. Let's make sure that we have the same spiritual understanding and vision and goals.
And even to those who are married, circumstances change, and we also change. So let's communicate the changes that are happening to us, as well as the changes that we are seeing in your spouse. You know, I sat down one of the days, I sat down with Priscilla and I said, you know what, I'm changing. And she said what? I said, all the things that I used to enjoy, I no longer enjoy them anymore. So if you're going to bring me those things, No.
It's not going to do nothing to me.
And so, in as much as I have seen changes in me, Priscilla also had changed.
Yeah.
So I have to sit down with her, have a dialogue.
Yeah.
Which areas have you changed? There are certain places where, when back in the day when I touched her there, it was the
I'll be
thing.
like,
You know, you touch her there, you know that the
Fire.
spark is there. Now you touch her there,
I'll be like, oh,
come on,
touch
give me
somewhere,
something.
my
Give me
friend.
so there is that need of keeping
Yeah.
updating each other on the changes that are happening, financial changes, spiritual changes, the physical changes. You have to know them, because if you do not know that, then
You grow apart.
you speak in two different languages, which is what happened in our most favorite and our most the verse which you speak more, Genesis chapter 11, that when people had many different languages, they couldn't work together. So you cannot further together unless otherwise you are understanding each other, you are communicating the changes that are happening.
And I just want to highlight the issue of growing together in the midst of all of that. One thing that you would do, I remember during our times of hardship, financial hardship, if you read anything motivational, you would come and share it with me. If you hear of a testimony of how God has come through for other people, you would come and share it with me as well. And I think it is very important that we walk together in the journey. If you are growing, if you grow by yourself, then we are growing apart. But if we grow together, you learn something, then you come and share with me. You find a different perspective, come and share with me. So that way we begin to grow together. So if we spiritually share verses together, pray together, no matter what season that you may find yourself in, like we said, you will encounter all seasons. Today we're just talking about financial crisis, the financial season, but we've had other seasons, in sickness and in health, and so many other seasons. So you will encounter those seasons. But if you can further together, get stronger together, be committed to the vows that you've made. Sometimes we make them, we don't understand them, for better, for worse. I was just saying them for richer, for poorer. They didn't quite make sense at the time. But when we encountered these hard times, that is when your strength is being tested. And in those moments, stay committed to one another, stay committed to the vows, communicate, understand each other, and let your spouse know that I understand you, babe. Because sometimes I think it's not enough that I understand you if I don't communicate that I understand you.
Because I needed there were moments where I need the affirmation that my wife is understanding me. Because without those affirmations, I feel, am I not doing enough? When I'm grinding, I'm leaving home early, I'm coming back at night. Unfortunately, Chabuda Apana, I couldn't bring it.
Oh God, those are hard moments.
And I like. Yes, good evening. I see Pastor Julie is on the platform. I remember Pastor Peter, one of the days you were saying, we all go through challenges in life. So it's either you went through your challenges already, or you may be going through right now, or you are waiting to get into your challenges. So whichever way, there are phases that we all go through. So if you haven't been through that phase, life is waiting. You're heading closer to that moment. So when we get into that moment, I would say it's quite important to affirm the things that your spouse is doing. If Priscilla is good at patience, and I would appreciate it, babe. I know things are not fine, but thank you for being patient. Thank you for sticking around, because her brothers were not, they were just a few miles, 5 miles away. So she would have just said, you know what?
I'll go to my brother. I'll tell my brother I'm suffering here.
I can't stand. So for her to stick around every morning, I would look at her and say, you know what, babe? I love you more. Thank you so much for bearing with me. I know I have to be pulling, and I'm trying to pull things are not working out. So as long as I'm seeing you here, I feel more energy to go out and work. And she will also affirm to say, you know what, I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate you waking up and going and chasing, hunting, grinding. one day things will be fine.
One day, and indeed God is faithful. We are seated here to the glory of God. God has blessed us. We are not where we want to be, but God has blessed us in a mighty way. Things that we would pick on the road, like we said, we once picked up a bed, and that was our first bed. From that moment on, when we now God had blessed us, we're like, you know what, we're not buying just any type of bed. We want to buy something that we know we are investing into. And so God is a rewarder.
When God blessed me, I told Priscilla that I'm going to buy you a bed. I went, I bought the bed, and the bed didn't come first day, didn't come second day, didn't come third day. After 5 days, I received a phone call from the Italian shop where I bought the bedroom suit. A white bedroom suit came, delivered here. And Priscilla just saw boxes coming. And she said, "What's this? Is this just for a bedroom?" I said, "It's not the whole furniture, it's just for the bedroom." Why? Because we are now celebrating. Those who suffer together must celebrate together. So have moments when things are fine. Have moments of celebrating. It's one thing as well as couples that sometimes when you go through these challenges together, when times becomes good, please
don't run away
together.
From that wife or from that husband. Enjoy together.
Yes. So it was a moment where I surprised my wife, where she knelt down, where she had tears on her eyes to say, I never dreamt of this. You have raised the bar high. So for me, it was just a matter of showing her that it's a matter of time. Things can be hard, but it's a matter of time.
It's a matter of time, and God is so faithful. The very same flat that we moved into, and we didn't have nothing. Fast forward, a few years later, God gave us the grace, and we now saying we are buying this flat, and God is so good. We bought the flat, and God is continuing to do wonders in our life. We can only thank God.
Yeah, it's there are moments whereby when life hits you hard, you can become hopeless. Yeah. And if care is not taken, you will even reach a point whereby you say, "I'm fed up of marriage," and you go. And many times we have noticed that, the moment you leave your wife or your husband, they hook up with somebody else, and boom, because you left them when breakthrough was about to come. Yeah. So it's, if there's no domestic violence, if it's just life, putting just you in on a tight corner, I would say, go through together, because these are the vows that we made. I didn't know on the 31st of May 2008, Jameson Hotel, in a beautiful room. I was saying yes, in for better for worse. I didn't know how worse
it was going to
it could be.
Yeah.
And it reached to the point where it was. So you may be right now, as you're speaking, you may be going through challenging times with your husband or with your wife. These things, they will pass.
Like we say, there are seasons, and seasons come, seasons go. Pastor Peter says circumstances come, circumstances go. So you will encounter seasons, but what is mostly important, the key things I think that I am deriving from our whole discussion is that, keep the communication channels open. As long as we kept communicating, updating ourselves, we were able to understand that we are in this for a season and for a moment. I was able to understand that you were pulling your own side of the weight, and I wasn't in there by myself. So keep the communication channels open. Seek to understand your spouse, understand where they are standing, understand how they feel about that whole situation. because it is in those moments that you can hear. I mentioned earlier your spouse saying, I feel neglected, or I feel unsupported. And so you don't want your spouse to be with you and yet feel neglected or unsupported. So keep the communication channels open. Understand your spouse, understand how they're feeling at that moment, and that issue of oneness, feathering together, and
Yeah.
just being
Yeah.
committed to the vows that we have said,
Yeah.
before God.
And to wives, I would say sometimes don't give your husband unnecessary pressure.
Nagging.
Sometimes you give that pressure because so and so is doing that, so and so is doing this, and we are not having the same privileges as them. I remember, during the same period, it became tough, and my wife said, "Oh, I want to go home." I knew that she wanted to go home. She wanted to see her parents and all the stuff, but she wanted to go home. We didn't have the money for the air tickets, so she wanted to use her credit card to go home. And I said, you know what? If there is nothing as worse as you borrowing money to go home and you come back and you struggle to pay the money. So these are some of the things that we'll sit down and start to highlight, share with each other.
You're just homesick.
I know, babe,
take
you're
it
just
easy.
homesick. It's pressure. This will come to pass. And lo and behold, a few months down the line, she was better. Now the Lord have blessed us. Sometimes instead of us to go home for 6 weeks, she said, I don't want to be in Zimbabwe for a long time. Now she doesn't want to be there for a long time. She can afford to go, but she doesn't want to be there for a long time. Why? It's a season.
Seasons come, seasons go. Guys, thank you so much for staying with us on this platform. I know some people might have joined a little bit later. We were supposed to have Doctor and his wife, Priska Chireka, on this platform, discussing for better, for worse. But due to Judy Coles, they were not able to be with us. And as we always do before we wind down, we give homework to our viewers. So we decided to jump on and share our own experience with you. This is just another bit. There's more to what God has done in us and through us. And, we continue to see the hand of God. And so before we close, babe, homework to us and to our viewers.
Yeah. I know you also have your own story. Some, like I said, some people are going through, some have gone through, and some they may go through in as we move along the way. But one thing that I would leave as a homework to both you and us as couples is having time to sit down and reflect the times where life have been so tough or have been challenging, and appreciate each other in areas that they have stood with you or they have managed to support you. Like I mentioned that I would wake up every morning and look at Priscilla and say, you know what, thank you for sticking around. So for me to just see her there, it was one of the motivating things. So time and again, I keep on, remind her that, you know what, babe, you stood with me. There was every reason for you to leave, but you did not go. And she also got her own areas where she applauded me for what I have done. So it's an appraisal moment. Sit down, look at the moments where you have been through tough times, and appreciate your other half for specific things that they have done. Don't just appreciate them and say, oh yeah, thank you for being there. Appreciate, tell them, be specific. Oh, thank you for doing this and this and this. During this season, I felt supported by doing this and that and that and that. So by so doing, you are giving them fuel to do more.
That is right. And just adding on that, have those serious conversations. Sometimes we communicate on a superficial level. We don't communicate our thoughts and our feelings. Just take it as a moment. Express how you felt during that season when your spouse stood by you during that season. How did it make you feel? You know, in bad times, sometimes when I've done wrong, you tell me I feel neglected.
Yep.
So communicate. If you feel supported, if you feel loved, tell them that I feel respected. You know, at times you tell me I feel respected. Why? Because I did not, you know, shout at you and tell you you're useless man, I didn't do this. So you feel respected. So however you felt, as you're appreciating one another, tell them how that made you feel. And I think by that you can provoke more positive reactions.
What more shall we say apart from saying thank you so much for giving us your precious possession, which is your time, time permitting, God willing. We'll meet again next week. May I say thank you, thank you, thank you to those who have tuned in. Will you please share so that others will watch later on? I know there are others who may not be able to watch due to other commitments, but they can watch it as
It's a replay.
a replay. So please share with them. For me and my beautiful wife, Priscilla, we're signing out. Remember, it's for better, for worse. No,
Hang in.